All right. Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be presenting a lifestyle grocery recommender. Now, first, a little bit about me. I'm an economist turned data scientist currently based in Miami. And please feel free to contact me if you find yourself enjoying any part of this presentation. I'll link my GitHub in the final slide. So with every project, I always like to start with why. And for this project, now, with the current restrictions placed on travel and, stores being closed, people aren't going to the grocery store anymore and they're not seeing what's new on the aisles. And so I set out to find a new way for you to find your favorite new alternative foods that fit your current lifestyle. And I wanted to accompany that with a website that allowed users to input a paragraph describing the food they wish they had in their current lifestyle choices. And so a little overview of my project process is first I did the data processing, which included some EDA and some filtering of the data. Then I moved on to the model where I vectorized my data and I also used cosine similarity to make some recommendations. And finally, I created a Flask app as a way of deploying my model for users to interact with it. So step 2 is some data processing. So my data had around 5 million product reviews. It had around 300 million distinct products, and it had around 100,000 users. Now, this is over 15 years of Amazon data that was scraped. And so next came filtering all this data in order to get the most accurate and useful predictions. So I filtered by lifestyle. So this included things like vegetarian, low sugar, non-GMO, vegan, and those kind of current lifestyle choices. And so after that filtering, I ended up with around 100,000 unique items. So after this, I worked on my text processing, or my NLP, natural language processing. And so first I decided to write a custom function to remove some numbers and words. I worked a little bit on dropping all English punctuations. I also worked on removing the stem from the words. And then finally, I tokenized and dropped the stop words. So this is what a final review would look like after it was all cleaned up. This one's about a sports bar. And so finally, I had to vectorize my reviews and I used TF-IDF. So then I had to connect all my pipelines. What this basically means is I had to write some concise Python files that I can call for my Flask app. I had to run my text pipeline once because it used a lot of computing power and try to save that so I didn't have to reuse computing power all the time. I also ran the TF-IDF once as well to save that in order to be able to predict in real time for my users. And then lastly, I allowed users to input some text and have it run through the pipeline and be served some recommendations. So next came how I actually recommend to users. So I serve recommendations based on cosine similarity. I did this because I had such a large vocabulary set. I had so many features. I had a sparse matrix, and therefore I wanted to use angles because it was the best choice to find the similar reviews. And so finally comes my Flask app. So let me show you guys what that looks like. Right here, this is the home page. Users would come here to find product recommendations. They would input their name, put my nickname, and then they would be able to input a couple sentences. Now, let me talk a little bit more about what the user would input. So as you guys saw, this is what my final app looks like. And so this is the text I just inputted here. I have it large for you to see. It's really important because I try to look for features that would be picked up, like pizza, carbohydrates, protein, calcium, gluten-free. Those were all the main things I was looking for my model to pick up and be able to predict on. And so in the end, you would look like something like this. As you can see, it's all loaded up and the results are fairly good. You have here a URL you can click to go on the Amazon product and you can go buy, and there's around 10 recommendations that I served. And so, yeah, that was my project. There's my GitHub and all the technologies that I've used. Thank you.